I set them a task. I say, do you understand? And they say, yeah, I understand. But then they do the complete opposite thing. Every person running a business, every site supervisor or manager or even electrician can vouch for me and say that it's one of the most frustrating things. I'd rather you say, I don't understand, Josh. Could you explain it again? In terms of tax, I was very scared, thinking, oh, if I don't do that, taxman's going to be knocking at my door and stuff. But you know, it's quite exciting. You know, I feel like, you know, you should always try and ask as many questions as you can with stuff that you don't understand. There's no, you don't need to be, you know, prideful in a trade like this. I know, you know, we're all big and mighty, but sometimes you just got to be humble and say, you know what, I don't understand this. Let me ask this question. How do I get around this? That's a very good question, and I think I might get in trouble if I tell you, but I'll tell you anyway. When I first started, I used to call up agencies.
This is the FieldRocket podcast. I'm your host, Talik Priest, and today we're joined by Josh King from KK Electrical. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, please?
I'm an electrician. I run a company called KK Electrical Contractor Limited. We specialise in commercial, domestic, industrial installations. We deal with mostly labour-only contracts. Sometimes you'll see materials involved, but you know, we work in mostly London. We do, you know, cover all aspects in terms of testing, installation, maintenance. So yeah.
Yeah. What size is your team?
I currently have a team of about 15 to 20 people. Subcontractors, some work for me directly. Yeah.
Yeah, just adjust whatever contracts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, according to the contract, if I need to get more people, I'll get like more subcontractors in, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and how did you get started?
That's actually a brilliant question. Actually, I get loads of people asking me all the time. When I left school, I got 10 GCSEs, so I passed English, Maths, Science. I didn't want to go to university, so I was trying to think of different avenues to sort of, you know, career paths.
What were you kind of checking out?
I looked at the army. I looked at plumbing. I did actually look at plumbing first, to be honest with you, but I saw, you know, people working in toilets and stuff, and I said, you can't pay me enough money to put my hand in someone's toilet. So that was out of the picture. So after that, I stumbled across electrical. It looked pretty interesting to me. Like, I have quite a good interest in science, and I remember like learning a few about physics and stuff, so I kind of have an interest in it as well. I looked at a few videos online as well, and I could see, to be honest with you, I just saw a man in a van, and I thought to myself, maybe I could like dilly-dally all day and get a good money. So that was sort of in my mind to do that. So yeah, I literally...
Was that the goal?
Yeah, that was the goal, you know. The goal is to obviously do less work and get paid, you know, but...
I'm guessing this was when you were at 16, 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm guessing things might have changed.
Oh, things have changed dramatically. Yeah, it's nothing like that. I was totally wrong. I don't even do, you know, I'm not your typical man in the van electrician. I do, you know, commercial contracts and bigger projects.
What kind of projects and stuff do you do?
I do Cat. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar, but Cat A and Cat B office fit outs. So that's basically where, you know, like for example, if you look at the big buildings where you have offices, they may want refurbs done, they may want new installations done. So we cover all aspects of that.
So do you do like the networking side as well, or just the electrical?
Yeah, we do data as well. We do data installations as well. And obviously test it all as well. So Cat 6 cables, fiber optic. So we specialize in a big range of things. If need be, if we can't cover certain things, we'd always get people that know what they're doing in terms of other subcontractors that can help assist with projects. But yeah, we have a really good team. Yeah.
Okay, because how big is your actual core team?
My actual core team, I'd probably say about 6 to 7 guys that I keep busy all the time, guys that actually work for me directly. And obviously we have a few apprentices starting next year, which is a bit exciting. When I was an apprentice, you know, I was, to be fair, I think in this day and age, a lot of people do struggle to find apprenticeships. So, you know, I feel like me giving people opportunities to, you know, learn a trade and, you know, ultimately have a skill for life is really beneficial to people and, you know, and the community as well.
Because that's how you got started, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I've done a 4-year apprenticeship. So as I was saying before, I left school. I literally done a level 2 in electrical installations between 16 to 17. And after that, I managed to find a apprenticeship with a company based in Milton Keynes. But lucky enough, all of their contracts was actually in London. So 4 years. The money's not the best.
Yeah.
Some of my mates were working better jobs than me.
But it's like a degree.
Exactly that. So I was sort of looking at other people. Everyone was sort of doing their thing, and in their eyes doing a bit better than I was, even though I was on a low wage. But I think as an apprentice, I never really thought about the money side of things. I was more of the experience. I'd always wake up with a big fat smile on my face, as you see now. I'd just be ready to work. I used to go to bed at like 8 o'clock, raring to go work the next day. Do you know what I mean? I used to stamp around. I used to cause a bit of trouble at work, and just ultimately you've got the banter aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
So I was always positive at work. I never had a bad day. I was always happy. Even if I did have a bad day, I was happy at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? So you obviously do face a lot of problems on site, but my experience as an apprentice was brilliant. I never experienced anything bad. I made a few mistakes, but I always had a shoulder over me saying, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was really looked after. Like even when I went to my interview for my company, my biggest boss at the time, Gary, said to me, you came to our interview in a shirt and tie, and I was like to him, did I? And then everyone started laughing. And I was like, what am I meant to go in the interview in?
What are you supposed to? You're not going to turn up scruffy.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn this scruffy t-shirt tie. But then it makes you think, like as a builder, what do you turn up to in an interview? Do you turn up in work boots or do you turn up in a shirt and tie? I don't know, but yeah.
It's quite a jump. Like, so you went from, now you're sort of 15, 20 employees. And then how did you actually get from being like an apprentice, like you finished your apprenticeship, and there's kind of this big gap in
so
just to kind of help other people that want
so to be honest with you, I was working as a subcontractor, if I'm being honest with you, and people would ask me, I need to get some more labour down there and stuff like that. So when I left my company, I was working agency jobs, I was working directly for people just as a subby, and people would say to me, I'm looking for people or this and that, and because I was qualified, they said, do you think you can get one of your mates to come and help you? And I said, yeah, I know quite a lot of people. I think I do know quite a lot of people, so and obviously people in the trade, people I went to college with as well. So I said, okay, cool. How do we go about doing it? They said, we'll pay you. And I said, what do you mean you'll pay me their money? And they were like, yeah, we'll pay you the money, and after that we'll do that. So they give me like a set rate for the two of us, and then I said, okay, that could work. So then I started looking at owning a limited company, stuff like that. So slowly but surely, I started to understand, running a business, even though it was only small. Even though I only had one person sort of working with me, but I'm paying his wage and I'm getting his wage. Slowly but surely, he works for me.
Not much overhead.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing also that if you're employed just for that contract, you're not like guaranteeing that wage for like the rest of the year.
Exactly. So they're employed as a subcontractor. So I'm not working, because I think if you work, someone is direct for you, directly pay you, you have to always provide them work, which is correct. But as a subby, it's contract to work. So really and truly, like when the contract's finished, that's it.
Do you have to pay their tax or like?
Yeah.
You pay the normal stuff like
everything.
National insurance.
Everything.
So there is some setup involved.
Yeah, but because I was on the job and they paid me on time, paid me directly, they knew me. I never had that issue of thinking about whether I'm going to be paid or not, because I had a very good relationship with the people at the time that I was working for.
Okay, so there is a bit of trust there. You doing the work. Okay,
So that's where the trust aspect brought. So as I started, I've got this helper with me who's a mate. I'm an electrician. He's a mate. He's helping me with the work. Before I knew it, they asked for more people, and I said, hold on, like I basically have a company right now. I got people that work underneath me, with me, and I'm helping out the main contractor. And before I knew it, I started to have bigger contracts. I started speaking to more people. I think in this game, it's definitely who you know. It's who you know in this game, and lucky enough, I did make a lot of connections. I made a lot of people happy. Some people still call me to this day, ask me to come back to jobs, saying they want to work with me again. So, yeah.
Okay, so it's a good kind of repeat.
Definitely, yeah.
So when you've got the people helping you, I guess it's electricians mate, really.
Yeah, electrician mates. Yeah,
there's
exactly.
the official term plus the two mates.
Yeah.
can actually do quite a lot being not qualified. Like if you didn't know anything about electrical stuff, how helpful are they?
Lucky enough, the type of people that I know, they're actually, they know not a lot, but enough to help me. So again, they're kind of like a helper to me. So I help pass tools. If I got to do containment where it's a 2-man job, they can help me, assist me with that. So, they don't know overly a lot, but with what I'm doing, and for example, we do a bit of work within like 2 to 3 weeks. If we're doing the same thing over time, they'll actually start getting it, and they'll be a lot more helpful to me. So that's how I sort of started building it. In terms of that, but it's quite a good question actually, because I get a lot of people, subcontractors contacting me and stuff, and they don't, I don't really know them from anywhere, and when I do get some people on projects, I don't really know as much as they say they do. So that's another problem that I sort of face in terms of finding the right people for contracts, people contacting me, trusting them, me not knowing who they are. You
need some kind of like good kind of interview process. But I can definitely see, let's say on a big job in an office, if it's really repetitive, let's say, I don't know, you're doing like data with patch out.
Yeah.
As long as they're good, careful, they should do a good job. Okay. How do you actually find people, or how do you actually interview them? How do you know which ones to trust?
It's a very hard one to say that one, because most people that I know are sort of people that have been recommended to me from like a friend of a friend. Because I'd say my company is a family-owned business. I would say that, because you're not just a number at KK Electrical. We look after each other. We make sure we're there for each other. Even the subcontractors that sort of come and go, we also make sure that they're part of the family. If we're going down the pub on a Friday, they will come. We'll come together. If one of us say we're not going, we'll literally go to site and say, right, all the guys are there. Come into the pub. So it's very much everyone's there for each other. In terms of people finding the right people for jobs.
Before we're kind of moving on, I'm guessing, is that quite rare? Like for the subcontractors to be kind of included in
do you know what? I feel like it is rare, because a lot of the time subcontractors or agency workers are kind of looked upon like they're not really part of the team. They're just there. Just do your work and go away. Yeah, but I feel like you got to learn how to be there for people, talk to people, because it goes a long way. Somebody when you're there for people, you may not feel like you're doing a lot, but to them it's really a lot. So making people feel included, because a lot of the time, like even when I was by my own, just sort of working, even as a subcontractor myself, I was sort of like in the corner. People really want to talk to you. A lot of the time, people that get the contracts are from like not really from where we're from. For example, like London and stuff. Some people are from like Leeds. Some people could be from Manchester. So they have their own kind of cliques when it comes to like London jobs, because you have a lot of people coming from outside coming to London to work. Loads of different people. So I feel like it can be a bit bit off-putting. You spend most of your time with these people at work,
Yeah, well, you spend more time with your family.
Yeah, than your family, You kind
of experience.
So I think it's important to make people feel included, to make people feel like, they want to be wanted, because it makes them, work better, have a better work-life relationship, so.
And enjoy life.
Enjoy life.
What's good for both sides.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were going to say about how to actually employ people and what to look for.
Yeah, so I think I look for people. I don't think you have to be the most experienced at times. I feel like you should know the basics in terms of colours of the cable. That's like the bare minimum. I've had people before that tell me that they can do X, Y, and Z, but they don't even know the colours of the, for example, 3-phase cables, which is, to me, is just crazy. But I feel like if you have the right mindset, in terms of like you ask a lot of questions and you're passionate, you're in on time, you show the willingness and desire to learn, and obviously you know the basics. If you don't know the basics, do a level 2 or something. But I feel like that definitely goes a long way. You don't have to be the best, but as long as you show that desire and that commitment, in on time, you ask a lot of questions. I also hate when when working, people don't ask me questions. So I say I set them a task. I say, do you understand? And they say, yeah, I understand. But then they do the complete opposite thing. Every person running a business, every site supervisor or manager or even electrician can vouch for me and say that it's one of the most frustrating things. I'd rather you say, I don't understand, Josh. Could you explain it again? And, some people, I do understand some people are very hard to understand. But I feel like you should just, come out your show and say, listen, I don't understand. Can you just run it through me again?
And well, a good thing to do is you can actually ask them to repeat back to you what they're going to do. And then you can, because mentally they have to put it in their own words, and then you've got to judge whether it's going to be it. But definitely that, like for us as well, that cultural fit is really, really important, because the skills you can learn. But if you're not interested, you're not going to turn up on time, and you're not open to learning. These are more difficult to teach. I don't know how to phrase that, but the skills you can easily learn over time. And over time, do you kind of have your own kind of like the subbies that you use all the time, and then it kind of grows, or how does it kind of work?
I like to keep everyone busy. So, I even though they are subbies, I like to keep everyone in work, everyone busy, even when the next contract sort of finishes. That's my job as, owner of the company, to make sure everyone has enough work, make sure, if anything does happen, we've got work that we can go to. So I have multiple projects going on currently. We have jobs where we're subbing off the main contractor, so we're sort of like this third in line, if that makes sense. So they get the project themselves, and then obviously sub out the work to smaller companies, is what we kind of pick up and do. And some projects I'm actually the main contractor, more with like my private building developers. I'm doing quite an exciting project in East London right now, where we're building 27 flats across 3 buildings.
Okay,
and I'm working.
That would be quite a bit more. I was going to say stressful, but interesting.
It's definitely like I'm really helping in terms of like I'm helping. We're not only doing electrics in that project. We're doing literally everything.
Are you doing the materials as well?
Yeah, so doing materials.
Is this quite a change for you then?
Yeah, definitely.
Because the earlier stuff was just work only, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a whole new. Is it a whole new world, or
to be honest, it is a whole new world. A lot of people, I always say to my lads, you guys don't know what I do on a day to day, because they just think I drive around, I be a bit nosy, and I said to them, guys, some of them, a lot of the older guys understand that, like everything I do is I'm always doing something. They know. The younger guys make little jokes saying, trust, like you don't really know what's going on. You just go around site to site and go about your business. I said, listen, you don't have a clue what I do. The reason why you're here right now working this job, because I put stuff in place. Even the fact that you went to this other job next week is because I put stuff in place. So, a lot of the younger ones do get a bit cheeky every now and then, but I feel like over time they mature and they understand a lot more in terms of running a business, because, you have to make sure you pay everyone on time, make sure you find all the new contracts, you have to project manage the actual contracts to make sure that your clients are happy, make sure everyone's happy. So it's quite a lot that does take into it, Sometimes you're on your laptop until 11 o'clock at night, When I was actually building up my business, it was quite a weird one, because to build up the clientele, I had to work day and night shifts for one of my first ones. So I was working day and nights for literally 3 months. 3 months I was working day and nights, just to build up. Because the thing is, when I put myself out there, now it's all right. Now I've got, a pool of people that trust me, and I don't need to be there. But before, I didn't know anyone, so I made a promise to them.
Okay, so you were actually on site.
Yeah, I was on site working. Yes, exactly.
So how do you have like some team members which are kind of like leaders?
Exactly. Yeah. So I have various site managers, for example, people who I trust. So they're like, for example, they're like me. For example, I can leave them on a job. I know that they'll let me know if people are late. They'll make sure that deadlines are being met. So it's all about, it's important that, you have people that you can trust, because if I was to put apprentices on a job, it'd never get done. It'd never get done. They'd probably blow something up. But when you have, you need to delegate people that, like people that you can trust, people that are going to be in on time, people that are going to be your eyes and ears. They're literally going to be you, a form of you, but at the job. So when you have various different jobs, it's easy for your stuff to go wrong, because obviously there's not a lot. You don't know anything about it. So that's why a lot of people, I feel like, don't have the right people on certain jobs, so they're not able to, delegate and handle things accordingly, unfortunately. But as long as you've got a good team around you and, people that you can trust, and that's why I keep saying people can you trust, because, it's easy enough to put anyone on a job that's an electrician or per se a plumber, but if they're not, being sensible, if they're not, hitting deadlines, it's going to ultimately affect you,
How did you get kind of good? Because in the beginning, like, you're kind of on the tools the whole time.
Yeah.
And then over time, there's this gradual, more project management, sales, tax, admin, and then, this HR kind of side. Do you enjoy, did you kind of have like a goal? This is where you wanted to go, or it kind of was an organic thing? Because some people like being on the tools. And then there is quite a big journey in there. I know you're kind of going over it quite briefly, but there's kind of learning.
I think it was. I think it happened very organically. I think because I could never really imagine myself being a main contractor for a job. If you told me this like a year ago, I'd say, oh, nah. Do you know what I mean? But it happened just so quickly, like people, wanting to find out, if I could work on various projects. So now I had to get an accountant that was really good. I went through a few accountants, but my accountant now, like, he does everything for me. So all I have to do is just, he sends me letters, for example, or emails, just saying that, all the tax have been submitted for this month. This is how much you need to pay. There's certain stuff you do learn in terms of running a business. For example, before I was on CIS payments. So, for example, when I invoice a contractor, they deduct my tax for me. Yeah. But as I started getting to really go through quite a few numbers and obviously a lot of payments and stuff, I found out that it'd be better for me to go on gross payment status, for example. So that's when people don't deduct any tax from you because you're trusted to pay your tax. So that worked out a lot better for me instead of the main contractor deducting it for me. So when I handled my own taxes, I'm able to, be a bit more flexible and stuff.
So does that allow you to claim your expenses,
etc.? Yeah. You can always claim expenses, but it's just, handling your own money is just a lot better. You can kind of juggle it around a bit because in terms of tax, I feel like now I'm just good as a taxman in terms of like I understand tax a lot more than what I did before. Before I was very scared thinking, if I don't do that, taxman's going to be knocking at my door and stuff. But it's quite exciting. I feel like you should always try and ask as many questions as you can with stuff that you don't understand. You don't need to be prideful in a trade like this. I know we're all big and mighty, but sometimes you just got to be humble and say, what, I don't understand this. Let me ask this question. How do I get around this? So right now I've got people that do many different things. For example, so I have my accountant who's like really one of my main people. He does all the taxes. He makes sure my cash flow and stuff like that is taken care of. Make sure if anything goes below the red line, he notifies me. So he's really, really good. And then I have people that do HR for me. To be fair, I have a system in place already. So I basically have a spreadsheet, for example, and I have a woman that does my bookkeeping for me. So all the lads will send their invoices in to the woman, and then she'd then go and double check with me, and then obviously I'll double check with my site manager. So it's a bit of a process, But I've got pay schedules for various different jobs.
Quite a bit of
definitely.
And it's important to get these things right.
Yeah, you have to because I wouldn't want someone paying me late. So at the end of the day, you always have to put yourself in a position as someone, because sometimes I remember when I was working and, I'd be thinking, am I going to get paid today? So, all of my lads don't really have that thought in mind. They know that I'm always going to pay them. I always actually say to them, I'd rather sell my house than not pay you guys. Do you know what I mean? So they know, like, they've known me, they've worked before. Yeah, there's definitely a trust element there. And obviously, times do get hard, but I feel like if you're open and honest with people and, you treat people good, it does go a long way, because a lot of stuff does happen, behind the scenes in terms of work, project, you might make a loss, something might happen, or, there's many different factors.
These have a huge impact on your
Definitely.
Your cash flow. I was going to say stress levels as well.
Yeah. So even with cash flow, I had to literally come up with a decision to basically, instead of, I was having quite a negative cash flow when I first started. So I was paying everyone weekly, and then me moving to fortnightly payments really, really helped me dramatically, because as you can imagine, you got to pay 15 people weekly.
Well, were you doing weekly, and then when were you getting paid from the work?
So I was getting paid. I think I was getting paid monthly.
Okay,
monthly.
So you had to carry 3 weeks, or
3 weeks,
or it might even be 4 weeks, depending on which month it is.
Yeah, and to be fair, I literally had to make a decision what I was going to do. So I was scratching my head, worried, thinking, I need to just tell the lads that, I need to change the payment schedule, which is something I not really thought about, but I did. And, that really did help me in terms of managing my cash flow a lot better. So now I kind of like pay everyone when I get paid, if that makes sense. Because the first time you work for certain contractors, you have to wait quite a long period of time for the first payment. But after that, it could be fortnightly, it could be every 3 weeks, but it does sort of work out. But, weekly payments, it's a lot to take in, especially when you're paying like even 5 people, that's still a lot of money to pay a weekly. So, I started with about maybe 20 grand, if I'm being honest with you. And before I knew it up to like that,
it doesn't take long.
Doesn't take long. So
you get lots of things along the way. Yeah.
So I think stuff like payment schedules and stuff, and paying people when you get paid, or just manage it around. It's definitely things I had to look into and do. So I have my accountant. my bookkeeping. I'm pretty organised myself in terms of, you know, making sure, you know, everyone's okay in their projects. My site manager report back to me if there's any issues. If anything's dramatic, I'll come down to site and deal with it myself. But most of the time, like, I trust my team, and, you know, I've got good relationships with the main clients and stuff. So, yeah.
Like, how do you get more work?
How do I get more work? To be honest with you, I think I just get lucky. I think I get lucky.
You do good work.
Yeah, well, good work, of course.
But coming back, you know, that's a good.
I think that's a very good question. That's a very good question, and I think I might get in trouble if I tell you, but I'll tell you anyway. When I first started, I used to call up agencies, and agencies I worked with previously, I used to say, "Good morning, so and so. Who is the main contractor for the site for the job you're broadcasting?" And they tell me, you know, it's so and so. I'd be like, okay. No,
why would they tell you?
You know what I mean? But they used to tell me. So
I mean, like, out of all the
yeah. So they used to tell me. Some of them used to tell me. So they'd be like, "Why are you asking?" I said, "Because, you know, I really want to work for you guys, but I've had a few bad experiences." And then they'd be like, "Okay, well, let's say it's so and so electrical." So I'd be like, "Okay." So then I type it in online. If they're advertising for a job, that means that they're looking for people. Because the thing is, a lot of people don't really want to use agency workers because, this is what people say. They're not the best. I feel like, you know, a lot of people are different. Some people, you know, don't do a standard apprenticeship, so they're not as experienced as an apprentice would be. Some people self-learn, but that doesn't mean you're any better than any other. But quite a lot of people don't really have the full scope of works, because the apprenticeship does offer quite a lot. But at the same time, it depends on obviously the company you work with. But most of the time, people prefer apprentices, people that have done this industry standard apprenticeship, than opposed to people that kind of get their gold card themselves through MVQ level 3 and stuff. That's definitely what people say, 100%.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was just doing that. So I'd call up the agency. I say to them, who's the main contractor? They tell me. I call them straight up and I say to them, "Hi guys, I saw a job advert online. You guys are looking for people. Is that true?" Straight away they'd be like, "Yeah," and I'll tell them, "Right, my name's Josh from KK Electrical. I have a team of about 8 to 10 contractors in London. I want to help you on your project. Give me the details and I'll be there." And straight away they'll be like, "Brilliant." Because I feel like, you know, they want people to be held accountable, because it's quite difficult when you work with people from agency, because, as I said, there's
nobody accountable.
Yeah. There's no one accountable, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to pay the money, whether they're good or bad. They're gonna have to pay the money. But when you have someone that's an actual contractor that specializes in labor-only contracts, there are many people like myself that do these kind of works. You have someone to hold accountable for. So, for example, if something's not done right, you can say, "Right, go back and do that." And that's what people really want. You know, I spoke to various people and they said as soon as I sent them a text, they call me straight away within 10, 15 minutes, because they want someone that can hold accountable for. So it does work in both ways, you know. At the end of the day, I trust my own ability and I trust all my lads that, you know, that they will do a good job, and that, you know, if there is any problems on site, you know, it's a building site. Stuff does happen, mistakes are made, but we can always rectify it. It's all about communication on site, you know. So I don't really, you know, I believe in being held accountable, of course, but I know that, you know, we're going to do a good job. If there's any issues that do arise, we will sort them out. And, you know, ultimately we can build, you know, longer lasting relationships, because again,
and then you get that.
Yeah.
Like once you get rolling.
Yeah, that's it. And then he'd say, "Oh yeah," one of his friends was saying, "This is like main contractors as well. This is not like, you know, people, you know." But, you know, they'll then tell their friends, "Oh yeah, there's that Josh guy. You know, his company's all right. You know, they don't really help us out." And then their friends will be calling me saying, "Oh, like we can nick a few days over here." Like, this is like really, you know, big companies who have project managers, because I think quite a lot of these companies, they have to find their own labour, but obviously they're from like far out and stuff.
It's painful.
Yeah, they have to find their own labour.
It's like a club of these contractors.
It's a very small world, you know. It's a very small world. You know, I was on a job once where I had my lads working for 2 different companies on the same job. It was quite a big project. So some of my boys were working on the 3rd floor, some of my boys working on the 5th floor for 2 different contractors. And I'd go in and they'd be like, "Oh, Josh is here." And I say hello to everyone and that, and everyone would be like, "Oh, you're right, mate." And then, you know, it's all about your name, you know. You should always take pride in your work. It's something that, you know, I was always taught as an apprentice. Even when something was as easy, you know, sometimes I used to cut corners. I used to be like, let me not screw that tight enough, or I'll do that quickly. I'll leave it a bit loose, but I'll come back to it later on, or I'll finish over there.
Yeah,
you know, but you know, my site manager used to always say to me, "Josh, stop cutting corners," because the thing is, I was so eager from young just to like go to the next job, be quick. I was so eager.
Speed,
I'm going for speed, so that I could say, look, I've done this, and you guys are still on there, you know, just to kind of show off and stuff. Just as like a typical like younger lad does. So, you know, I was always wanted to like show off and show I was the best and stuff. But they used to always say to me, listen, calm down. It's about doing it properly. No matter how long it takes, obviously be quick, make sure you know, do your stuff properly. But it's about, well, over time you get better with speed. So I had to sort of think, maybe you're right. Maybe I should just, you know, take my time, and eventually I'll get quicker. Then I'll be, you know, really quick, and I'll be able to get stuff done properly, you know. But I feel like to take pride in your work is always something that you should do.
Yeah, just those return visits are expensive.
Yeah, they're very expensive. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Well, anything else that you could share that would help people sort of get started, and, you know, depending where they are?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people get very scared at the thought of having a business, but, you know, start small. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, you employ 5 guys and you're looking for work straight away. You know, go around with a lad. You know, learn how to sort of pay his taxes, you know, work with an accountant. You know, Rome wasn't built overnight, you know. For me, a lot happened for me in a short space of time. But, you know, that's just due to me, you know, being organised and stuff. And it could happen to anyone, you know. Before I knew it, I started off, you know, just working at a normal site. I was testing, I was doing X, Y, and Z, just working, you know, as myself as a subby, a sole trader. And before I know it, 2 years later, I've got my own company. I have, you know, 10 to 15, and that's increasing by the day. You know, lads, I'm hiring apprentices now. So, you know, like at the end of the day, like if you have a vision and a mindset, you shouldn't always, you know, be worried about, you know, it not working out, because really and truly business, you know, people always have this stuff online where people make loads of money. But within my first year, I wasn't really making it. I was basically recycling the same money for the year. But for me, that helped. But in terms of me actually doing that, you know, the turnover was good, so I looked good in the eyes of the bank. So I was able to, you know, get loans. It's not always about the money. If you think about the money, I know cash is king. You know, everyone should.
Well, you kind of say that it is important. It's the life, but you know, it's that it's kind of the journey. It's you know, out of it, you make some money, but it's what you become as part of this journey.
Yeah.
Like, I'm guessing you're probably quite different, you know, very different from that first day you went to the interview. But
definitely.
You know, it's apprenticed.
Definitely.
So,
So like now I'm quite heavy on like really giving back, you know. Hopefully in the next couple of years' time, I'm the biggest, you know, contractor in London. Hopefully, I don't know. But, you know, giving back is always something I'm really passionate about as well. So I'm looking at, you know, starting some sort of charity where, you know, I provide workshops for young people on how to get into construction. Not really so much, you know, construction courses, but how to get into construction. For example, you know, if you're young or you're old and you want to change your career, how does one get about into doing construction? You know, they don't know about CIS tax. They don't know about UTR number. They don't know about the various different cards that you can do. So I'd like to do like, you know, some sort of workshop, work with my local council, and you never know, you know, just, you know, sort of build up from there and just give back to the community, give back to people, you know, and ultimately just, you know, help people better their lives, because construction is a beautiful thing, you know. What would I be doing right now if I wasn't in construction? I don't know.
Well, I can guarantee you one thing, AI is not going to take over electricians.
Exactly. So all these robots that you see going about, you cannot replace our jobs at all. You're always going to need tradesmen. You know, they might replace supermarkets, I don't know. But in terms of electricians, plumbers, tradesmen in general, maybe some aspects, I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't know. But I think they can't replace us. You know, we're always going to be needed. We're always going to be, you know, in work. You know, as long as even the guys that aren't the best, they're always still in work. You know, and sometimes you see some work, I go around, I think, how does this person still got a job with the work that they just done? Because, you know, that's like when I go around to eat with my girlfriend and stuff, I'll go out with my family.
Oh yeah, are you kind of like checking it out?
Yeah, so I look over and I think,
is your girlfriend sick of this?
Yeah. Look, so I'll tell you what, whenever I say to her, I worked in that building, she says, well, every time I go out in London, I always say I worked in that building. Well, it's true, you know, I'm proud of the work that I've done, you know, so I think rightfully so. But, you know, anyone that wants to get into a trade, get into construction or even run a business, I feel like they should definitely, you know, everyone knows somebody that, you know, even if it's a family friend or your cousin's uncle's mum or something, everyone knows someone that, you know, that they can ask for help. So I feel like people want to do it, which is good, but they need to come out of their shell and just go for it, you know?
Well, I think it's really good because there's a lot of courses around the actual on the tools, you know, actually how to do it. You know, not just doing electrical, like gas, whatever.
Yeah.
But that, you know, when you actually go self-employed, there's definitely gaps around you know, all the other skills that you need. And you know, if you could support them, because the other thing is like, I don't think like when you actually sit down, okay, I'm a good electrician, but then actually when you think about building a team, like what other skills do I need? Like, you kind of touched on them, but things like the HR, getting people you trust, holding them account. There's a lot.
There's a lot to go in there. There's a lot. It's not just.
You go, I can trust them. There's a whole learning curve.
Yeah, because there's a difference between being an electrician and running the business.
Oh yeah.
Before I'd be stressing about, you know, not stressing, but my goal was to complete this task so I can do this task tomorrow. But now it's a whole lot bigger. Some of it is included in it, don't get me wrong, but it's a whole lot bigger. You know, I have to make sure I put the invoices in, make sure I control the budget well, make sure, you know, everyone's paid on time. It's a whole it's chaos.
Next month.
But it is quite fun, if I'll be honest with you, because, you know, it does allow me to step away from the tools, because to be honest with you, I'm completely off the tools now. If I want to, I'll go back on the tools, of course, but even like today, I could have, you know, done a few bits today with my apprentices, but I thought, let them crack on. I watch over them and leave them to it. But, you know, it really just comes down to you as a person, you know. At the end of the day, I feel like you should let stuff happen organically, like happened to me. You know, if you go in too quickly without knowing, you're just going to end up crashing. That's why a lot of businesses do fail. You know, there's a statistic saying that a lot of businesses do fail within their first year. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you know, plan yourself well, do stuff properly, do everything by the book, you know, no matter how long it takes, how long or what corners you need to cut, don't cut no corners, just do everything by the book and you'll be all right.
Yeah, and ask for help.
That's the biggest thing. Ask for help.
Definitely, and actually receive it as well.
My mum is not she's not an electrician, she's not a tradesman, but every now and then, even when like the boys are having a bit of disagreements among themselves, I say, what do you think I should do in this situation? You know, she's not an electrician. I can explain certain things to her, but she will never understand. But, you know, she gives me advice, you know, family, you know, even some of the lads come up to me and say, Josh, you know, this happened, you know, and I think, well, what do you do? You know, I never, even when I'm even working on certain jobs, you know, a lot of people think their way or the highway, you know. So, you know, certain jobs I say to people, what do you guys think? Would you guys do it a different way? Because obviously I'm the main man that they ask for the direction. I say, if you think if there's a better way, tell me. And sometimes they think, yeah, maybe there is a better way. What if we go around this way? Because I'm not on site all the time. So some things they may know more than me. So, you know, it's always good to, you know, ask for help. Ask the guys, do you think that's a better way? How do you go about doing this, you know? It takes me back to when I was an apprentice, actually. When I didn't understand something, you know, someone would say, oh, Josh, I need you to run that cable tray down there, do that. And then I'll be looking at them thinking, I don't understand the word you just said. But I'd say to them, so how would you go about doing that? And then they'll tell me, and then I'll be like, okay, that's fine then. Do you know what I mean? Or someone sets me a task saying, okay, we need to run that cable down, go across, do that. Maybe get a bit of tray down there, make sure you do it like that, okay? And I'll be like, okay. And I'll be like, so how do you go about doing that then? And then he'd be like, yeah, I'll probably do it that way, mate. Or I'll go ask someone else, be like, how would you go about doing this? And then they'll tell me, and that's it, you know? It's quite a good way. It's quite a good way, yeah. Quite a good way. Tricks of the trade.
Yeah, definitely.
Tricks for the toolbox.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. That was very helpful, Josh. So yeah, I hope that helps other engineers, you know, get started and grow.
Thank you so much for having me.